faces, there's no excuse. You've been loosed.
This is From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Each week, Janice shares her wisdom to enlighten, educate, and advance the culture in America today. Janice Pons is a mother, author, and free thinker, and your host for our podcast this evening. Now let's join your host, Janice Pons.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Janice Pons. I am the host on our podcast, From Destruction to Dignity, Clinical Perspective, Spiritual Truths. Guys, you know me. We're going to go all the way in because why? Because we're in such a crucial time in America, and there's a lot on the table, and there are a lot of decisions that have to be made. We have an election coming up in November, and here in Oklahoma, we have an election in August, right around the corner. And I am so privileged and so honored to have the opportunity to interview Mike MAZZEI, who I am believing is going to be our next governor here in Oklahoma. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Janice.
Oh, the pleasure's mine. I mean, wow, what an honor. So we're going to dive in. I want to take advantage of this time that we have together. Guys, you know what I do over here. We dissect things, because one thing that the enemy of our souls comes against is us having understanding. There's a lot of voices, a lot of confusion, and the enemy of our souls does not want us to have clarity. And you know, I'm always saying, what is our soul? Our mind, our will, our emotions, our intellect, our drive, and our desires. And there are things that come against that, because what I'm learning is that the enemy of our souls does not want us to be informed. And that's what I do over here, dissect things, because I want us to have the ability to use basic logic and deductive reasoning. It will get us a long way as we the people. So having said that, we're going to dive in, because this gentleman here, I've watched Mike MAZZEI. I've watched you from afar for about 7 or 8 months now, and you got my attention one night at a banquet that I was singing at, and you got up and spoke, and I was like, who is this guy? I had heard your name, and I didn't really know who you were. So I started leaning in and started paying attention, and I was just really blessed. And then I had occasion to run into you in Oklahoma City, ran into you at a couple of other places, and at our district attorney's home. And each time you were such a personable, down-to-earth kind of guy. And I just love the fact that you were reachable, you were touchable. You know, you were just a down-to-earth man. And so when I had
my wife's trained me mostly well.
You know, Noel, did you hear that? Yes. So,
I'm still a work in progress.
I know. Well, yes, we are. We all are. And so thank you for this time together. So we're going to dive in, because we have this very important election coming up. Mm-hmm. You're running for governor.
August 25th.
That's right, August 25th. This is going to air on the podcast in a couple of days.
Okay.
So we're pre-recording it a couple of days, and we're going to get it out there. We're going to spread it far and wide, because I want my audience to be informed. Be informed. So having said that, we're going to dive in now. This is an important runoff election, August 25th. And there are some important matters that the citizens of Oklahoma are wanting to get to the root of. Things have ramped up. Your opponent, Gettner Drummond, is saying a lot of things. His presentation is quite different than yours. And that's okay. That's the beauty of it all. And as citizens of the great state of Oklahoma, we have to dissect it. But the bottom line is we want the truth. And my focus, Janice Pons' focus, is to go after the voters who are undecided.
Okay.
That's what I'm going for, because there's a lot. Gettner says this, you say that. I'm a person, I use basic logic and deductive reasoning as a clinician, a licensed clinician. That's where I want to go. What are the facts? What's the basic logic and deductive reasoning that we can come to a conclusion to make a sound decision? And when you vote, that's kind of at the crux of the matter. So I don't know. Some people, they don't know who they're going to vote for.
That's typical in the final 2 weeks.
Absolutely, especially when it's been whittled down from this one and that one. We're down to two people, Mike MAZZEI and Getner Drummond. So it's essential to go to the core of certain matters. So I'm going to get to the core, and I want to make sure that I get it right here. So there's some specifics regarding getting down to property tax for veterans and elders. Exactly how are you going to do that? Because that's got a lot of people's attention. Because how are you going to replace the revenue? And the opposition says, well, he's talking a good game. Mike MAZZEI, he says this. But where are we going to make up the money to replace the revenue that would be lost as a result of those taxes not being there anymore, that the veterans or disabled vets and the elderly have been paying? Speak to that from your heart, just from your perspective. You have a framework from which you have come to that conclusion that that's what you're going to pursue.
Yes, we have a plan, Janice, to abolish property taxes for seniors and veterans. Because I learned during this process that seniors 65 and older all across the state of Oklahoma were really terrified that they were going to lose their homes because property taxes had gone up 30, 40, 50%.
Wow, I didn't know it was that much.
At the same time, their homeowners insurance has gone up 30, 40, 50%. And of course, most people, retirees, see a regular fixed income that, goes up a little bit, but not at those rates of inflation. So as a financial planner, I started crunching the numbers. And what I found is in almost all Oklahoma counties, property taxes for seniors and veterans on the homestead, the residence, really only account for around 10% of total property tax collections. And in most counties, well, let's say all the urban counties, property tax collections have been coming in 5, 6, 7% per year.
Yes, sir.
Well, I then kind of figured out if we phase property tax collections for seniors 65 and older and veterans over 3 years, then as the 10% goes away over 3 years, all of our counties will still end up with about 2 to 3% net gain in property tax collections, even as we phase it out, thereby paying for core services at the county level, paying the financing, interest payments, and on the school bonds will be just fine. Now, I just got some proof of this, coincidentally, 2 days ago from a Cleveland County Commissioner who said, Mike, the numbers are in. Our property taxes for Cleveland County growth came in at 5%. So let's phase it out over a few years and get rid of this very unfair tax on seniors, because we financial planners have to emphasize that the tax, Janice, is on what we call an unrealized gain. If you've bought a house at $50,000, say 30 years ago, and today it's at $200,000, you're paying tax on that $150,000 gain, but you haven't actually collected any money from that because you still live in your home. Well, that's un-American. I think it's terrible. Seniors shouldn't have to pay rent to the government for the rest of their lives.
That is powerful. I get it. And I've never heard it explained that way. Now that ties in with my clinical mind. Basic logic, deductive reasoning to come to a basically clear conclusion.
I would like to add one thing. We've got about 20 to 25 urban counties.
Okay.
And then we've got 50-some rural counties. It may take a few years longer, probably more like 6 years in the rural counties, because their property taxes are growing more like 3 to 4% per year.
Amazing.
So, but we can still do it, and paying all the bills will be just fine.
Awesome. That makes sense to me. I've never heard it. And you gave a language to it. Let's give a language to it to frame it so people can understand it. Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom. But in all our wisdom, we need to get understanding.
Amen.
I understand that. Now, the Inola smelter.
The aluminum plant.
Yes. Now, what? That's a big hot issue. Recently, there was a planning commission that resigned as a town considered the aluminum smelter. I just found out that this was hot off the press. That really provoked a lot of thought for me. There were 25 legislators in our state that were pushing this, and Gettner Drummond didn't say a mumbling a word about it.
Back in May of 2025, I wasn't even in the legislature then.
Right.
Gettner Drummond didn't care one lick about this.
So
project.
why is he so riled up now? And I just want you to speak. Go with the flow. Frame it for us. For those who are undecided, listen to Mike MAZZEI's perspective. And to me, that was real important. I was like, well, wait a minute. If it was such a big deal and such a no-no, why didn't you say anything back then? What are we doing here?
Well, Gettner is a very slick liberal trial lawyer. And as I said, he didn't care one lick about this project. It's been around for 2 years, or
Yes.
a year and a half, I should say.
Yes.
But the day after President Trump endorsed me, he decided to sue the Trump administration to score political points and start scaring everyone about this project like it was some terrible idea.
Mm-hmm.
Which is really strange because we're in a Republican primary and I'm dealing with a Republican who sounds like a liberal Democrat because he's bashing an amazing economic development project that's going to provide great jobs for 10,000 Oklahomans. The project, it's called Oklahoma Primary Aluminum, will be 100% in compliance with the Federal Clean Air Act. And like a liberal, slick trial lawyer, he'll pretty much just say anything that suits his purposes at the time.
Okay.
He's putting out all of this fear-mongering type information, Janice, that's just false, that there are some air and safety problems with it, which of course is kind of what radical left liberals do. The people in Oklahoma, given our history in oil and gas and aerospace manufacturing, know full well that great economic development projects are not mutually exclusive with environmental safety. Yet my opponent in this race is spreading a lot of lies and a lot of fear because I got endorsed by President Trump.
So you're making another good point. I love this because we have experience in environmental protection and adhering to agencies thereof that oversee those kinds of things. This is not like we've never done this before.
Correct. And we know how to do things in America now, thanks to great technological advancements, to have major production, major jobs, and be good stewards of this wonderful earth and environment, that the Lord has given us. And to just reassure the people of Oklahoma, I'm constructing, as part of the plan, having a third-party independent evaluator on both the permitting process and the monitoring process once the plant is up and running, so that people can feel very confident that the air and water are going to be completely safe for the people, completely safe for the cattle, and completely safe for the farmers. We have great examples of aluminum plants like this that are hugely successful in Iceland, in the very middle of the heart of the city of Dubai.
Wow. Another framework that you're coming up another side of the mountain, giving an overall perspective that maybe people, those that are undecided, need to hear. This is good.
And let's take a couple of the lies that are out there.
Please do. Please dissect it.
Since I'm a financial guy,
Mm-hmm.
Drummond is telling people that the Arab monarchy are going to get millions upon millions upon millions.
The United Arab Emirates.
Yes.
Okay.
Completely false. The Oklahoma Primary Aluminum Company
Mm-hmm.
is a United States registered company.
Okay.
That's partly owned by a Chicago company and partly owned by a UAE company, not unlike these joint partnerships we have in America with Toyota and Nissan and Honda for these amazing automobile manufacturing plants.
Right.
Right now, as you and I are speaking today, the land is owned by the Tulsa Port of Inola. Eventually, the land for the aluminum plant will be owned by Oklahoma Primary Aluminum, a registered United States company. And this company will not get 1 penny of taxpayer dollars. Yet Drummond keeps trying to scare people that foreigners are going to own the land and we're going to give them all this money.
Mm-hmm.
I know he probably doesn't understand what's called a tax increment financing district.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have an incentive program like a TIF district, and sorry to get a little bit into the financial weeds.
No, it
here,
gives perspective. It gives perspective. I love it. Go ahead.
But the Oklahoma Primary Aluminum Company
Mm-hmm.
will actually be paying property taxes,
Mm-hmm.
which Drummond says this company's never going to pay any taxes for 30
Mhm.
years.
Mhm.
They're actually going to be paying taxes into what's called a TIF district.
Okay.
And that TIF district is going to use millions of dollars of those funds for Rogers County schools, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to use millions of those dollars to pay the financing costs to build a $10 billion project. Well, who's going to get paid all that money for the construction? The people of Oklahoma. So it's just so bizarre to see a Republican bash something that's good for the people of Oklahoma
Mm-hmm.
and can be done completely safe.
Mm. Speaking of bashing the people of Oklahoma, this week he was calling conservatives fascist.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's some strong language. That's really strong language. How did that strike you when you heard that?
Well, it does obviously kind of clarify the difference between financial planner Mike MAZZEI and liberal trial lawyer Gettner Drummond.
Okay.
Part of the reason President Trump has endorsed me to be Oklahoma's next governor is I'm a financial planner, a small business owner. I got a really solid plan to make Oklahoma a no income tax state, abolish property taxes for
Yes.
seniors and veterans.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Launch a massive statewide literacy program so our kids read at grade level,
Mm-hmm.
and chase this Chinese money and Mexican cartel out of the state of Oklahoma. I know Gettner Drummond wants to fool conservatives into thinking he is a conservative.
Okay.
But true to his liberal trial lawyer history, he's actually sued Oklahoma poultry farmers and ranchers and their business partners and been just fine with putting in jeopardy 25,000 poultry industry jobs because that's what the radical left environmentalists wanted him to do.
So that suit all about the environmental aspects of it? What was his end game on that?
Well, not only was that suit about environmental safety,
Mm-hmm.
but it was launched by a Democrat 20 years ago. Drummond could have put this to bed the day after he became Attorney General because all the poultry farmers and ranchers out there like our friends Megan and Jared Kelly, or I'm sorry, Megan and Jared Langley from Egg Drop Farms, have been doing everything that's been asked of them to be good stewards of the environment and follow some best practices. But Drummond wants to sort of coax out of this legal process millions and millions of dollars to get some liberal trial lawyer friends of his paid millions of dollars in legal fees. And so I know this background, and when I see something like Drummond saying conservative Republicans that I disagree with are fascists,
Right.
what did come to mind is, the scripture verse, out of the heart the mouth speaketh.
Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And that was strong. That really stopped a lot of people in their tracks based upon the trending that I'm seeing on social media. It's like, wait a minute, what is he saying here? It sounded real liberal. Yeah, it really did. Thank you for speaking to that. I really like the way you frame things, because what you're doing, to me, this type of flow helps the undecided voters get a framework. And that's what people lack. They get attacked in their emotionality, and they don't have facts. They don't, I call myself, I'm a Christian conservative constitutionalist. I used to be a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat. And why would I change? And I get a lot of attacks about that, but I'm a tough girl now. I can handle it. I learned history that was accurately told. And what you're doing right now is laying out history, facts, events that unfolded that leads us to basic logic and deductive reason that goes, wait a minute here. Why would I get behind that agenda or that thrust?
Yeah.
And you're just painting a framework. You're saying things I hadn't heard, but I'm getting understanding. Yeah. So that's awesome. I love that. So, having said that, speak to the data centers. That's another issue. And we're talking about economics, and I know people say, oh, it's going to be a pull on the grid in our community and all of those concerns. As our governor, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, whenever we talk about technological advancements,
Yes, sir.
there's a right way to do things, and there's a wrong way to do things.
Okay.
President Trump, of course, has said we have to be the leader in the world in artificial intelligence, and that requires enormous amount of processing power. So we do need data centers. I've spent some time trying to figure out what's the right way to have a data center and what's the wrong way to have a data center.
I love that.
Well, the guardrails that I think should be part of the process are, one, the data center shouldn't get any taxpayer money. I'm the guy that killed the $1.5 billion giveaway of taxpayer cash to the wind power companies. We can't make mistakes like that. Two, we really want the data centers to provide for their own power generation. That way, utility prices for you and me and everyday Oklahomans doesn't go up. Three, we want to make sure that the water cooling systems are what are known as advanced closed loop cooling systems. And what that does, Janice, is it uses the water in such a way that I'm told on a really large data center project, the water usage is about the same as a hotel with 300 rooms per night. And then four, I think the data centers should really only go up on already set aside, locally approved industrial sites. For example, there's a company called Core Scientific that's putting in a data center at a Port of Muskogee industrial site.
Okay.
They're not taking any taxpayer money.
Mm-hmm.
They're using an advanced closed loop cooling system.
Mm-hmm.
And they're building their own power generation by installing 200 small natural gas turbines to generate their own electricity, which is great. They're going to buy a lot of Oklahoma natural gas.
Framework again. Wow. I didn't know that. Thank you. So, one last area I want us to look at. I want to be very respectful of your time. You're in great demand for more interviews. Now, address the fireman's retirement pension plan. Have you heard anything about that and concerns about that?
Another one of those blatant lies out there.
Well, go there.
Okay. There are some firefighters and some police officers and some law enforcement officers, state troopers, for example, all across the state have been told a lie that I somehow want to end their defined benefit pension system. The shocker about that, Janice, is I spent years of my work when I was in the Oklahoma Senate fixing the almost bankrupt teacher system, firefighter system, police system, and law enforcement retirement system. So that instead of pension checks getting reduced 25 to 50%, these systems would be financially stable, and our hardworking public safety officers would feel secure in their retirement. And fortunately, all that worked. The systems now are healthy and whole. The legislature just launched a cost of living adjustment for retirees. The last thing Mike MAZZEI has or would want is something that harmed these pension systems that I spent years fixing.
That's what I thought. It just didn't make sense.
And I can just clear the record flat out that I never proposed ending public safety pension defined benefits, and I never will propose or support ending public safety defined benefits. My goal is to protect the pension systems financially so we can have regular cost of living adjustments for teachers and firefighters and police officers and troopers that are retired.
I love this interview because I hear such clarity coming out of you. You know, we had the debate and there was a lot back and forth about that. This is a different environment for you, and you have brought clarity. You really have. And I really honor you, appreciate you doing this. And I have one last question for you.
Okay.
One last
I love a good question.
Oh, no, here we go. How are you different? How are you different from your opponent?
Yeah, the big difference between myself and Gettner Drummond is I'm a conservative, lifelong Republican with a great plan to help grow the Oklahoma economy and bring opportunity to the next generation. President Trump has endorsed me. Dozens of former and current Oklahoma conservative state legislators have endorsed me. And I've spent my career, protecting taxpayer dollars and being a budget hawk. Gettner Drummond used to be a Democrat, has donated thousands of dollars to Joe Biden and 11 other liberal Democrats who ran against my friends and conservative Republican legends like Tom Coburn and Jim Inhofe.
Wow, that says a lot.
has sued Oklahoma poultry farmers and ranchers and their business partners.
Mm-hmm.
He is suing a great economic development project right now.
Mm-hmm.
He, on record, stopped the legislature's ban on transgender surgeries for minors. And the list goes on and on and on.
I did not know about that ban.
Yetner is a liberal trial lawyer. I'm a conservative financial planner.
Mm-hmm. You have set the record straight. Guys, you heard it for yourself. I really appreciated this because you gave me a lot of clarity. And what I'm hearing here is, guys, we can use basic logic and deductive reasoning based upon facts. And everything he said is accurate because I did some digging and there were parts that I didn't know, but I don't even look at the news, okay? So I talk about this on this platform all the time because they are the mainstream media is no different than Hitler's minister of propaganda, Joseph Goebbels, that used the people receivers to program the masses, and we know what happened to them. And so we see that, like, the lies that have been put out by him, that's propaganda. Just tell the truth, and then let we the people decide. And so things you said, I was like, oh yeah, I saw that several places that I sought out the information on my own without the mainstream media telling me. And so I can vouch for you. Just brought the pieces together. You framed it. I love that, using it. And what it does, it empowers us to use basic logic and deductive reasoning to come to a conclusion. You are good. You did really good in this interview. You did.
If people want to see even more details, they can check out MikeForOK.com. And I sure would appreciate everybody's prayers and support and vote on Tuesday, August 25th.
That's what we're going to do, guys. You heard what he said. Give us the website again.
MikeForOK.com.
There we go. You heard it for yourself. Listen, I thank you again for this interview. I'm honored. The honors. Thank you for being here. Guys, you know what we do over here? We dissect things, and this was a masterful display of dissecting that we can hear it for ourselves, use basic logic and deductive reasoning. I say that all the time because the enemy of our souls comes against us doing that. Just wants to keep us tied up in emotions, and it's driven by propaganda and lies. There are agendas that don't want us to do well as a nation. And there are these agendas that are attacking our children, their sexuality, and men being a biological men being in the showers with our women in the military. You know, I'm a Blue Star mama. You know where I'm at, where I come from about that. I'm serious about patriotism and our military, and especially the children and these reading scores. You know, my experience as a teacher and a school psychologist, that just blows me away about the academic performance. We can do better. And so that looks like something to me. What would happen if we did certain things as Oklahomans, as Americans, that's the American way, where we had a marvelous Monday, a terrific Tuesday, a wonderful Wednesday, a tremendous Thursday, a fabulous Friday. What would be the observable, measurable things that we would be seen doing? That's how we do it as America. And if you want to get on board with it, because we're going to get results, let's do it together. So I know, because he's a financial planner, his mind thinks that way as well. What are the observable, measurable things that we can do to get from point A to point B, and we go forward? I love that. I love it. I love it. Not the emotionality, but the plan. And I heard a plan. So guys, listen, keep coming back. You know what I say over here? We are one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As we go together from destruction to dignity, a lot of those things he laid out, that's destruction. But we want to go to dignity, solutions, getting to the root of things, moving the country forward, moving Oklahoma forward, moving this nation forward, moving families forward, moving these children forward. From destruction to dignity, clinical perspectives, spiritual truths. The clinical perspectives, strategies, skills, tools. I heard strategies. I heard his skills. Leadership. We need answers, guys. Not this emotionality snatching us around like a rag doll. That, we stay offended and we don't get to the bottom of things. From destruction to dignity, clinical perspectives, spiritual truths. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. But in all our getting, we're going to get some understanding. And I feel that we got some understanding tonight. Share this with everybody, far and wide in Oklahoma, because this man laid out his heart. And I loved what I heard. I will see you guys next week. God bless you. Thank you, Mike MAZZEI. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Janice's mission is to provoke thought, bring awareness, and point people towards intervention when needed. As a reminder, this show is not therapy, but for educational purposes only. For more information, check out JanicePons.com or follow her on social media.
We are one power, strength is ours, liberty, been set free, education, affirmation, dedication, information, revelation.